In a world where hopium and common sense collide, starring the CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader. Welcome to Debate Crypto. Question everything, trust nothing. It's your boys, CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader, here on another magic what if. I about said magic
money.
like
what if
magic
Wednesday?
money, yeah. For an ever, and I was actually just gonna say a magical, Wednesday evening. And right when I said magic, I was like, man, that's probably not gonna go over well. So yeah, we're here for another What If Wednesday. If it's your first time here, welcome. What If Wednesdays, we kind of dive into, guess what, like what if, right? We just dive deeper into sometimes conspiratorial, sometimes just deep thinking. Tonight is definitely not a conspiratorial idea. Tonight is, I'll let Miguel speak on it, but tonight is a little bit about the stock market combined with crypto. So make sure you smash the likes, subscribe, do all the things that YouTube loves. Miguel, let me know what's the what if tonight.
I mean, you just said it. It's
Well, not really.
the stock market combining with the crypto market, right? And how that would affect the crypto markets in general.
Yeah.
So, like, what if that did happen? What if the crypto market absorbed the stock market? What would that mean for the market cap of all
Yeah.
crypto? What would that mean for the different crypto projects that exist right now? And what would that future look like?
Yeah, dude, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a fun conversation. We started to have a little bit of the conversation earlier, and I think you guys are going to love it. We've got a lot of different ideas on some of the ins and outs of this. If you're looking to get a better feel or temperature check on Miguel and I and be involved more, on a one-on-one basis, we've got debatecrypto.academy, where we have our Crypto 101, and we also have our private seminars on Sundays. So we would love to have you there. Well, without further ado, Miguel, let's dive in and check out the market right quick. Then I've got a little bit of TA set up that I wanted to show, and then we'll dive into the what ifs. What do we got going on in the markets today?
Let's get it. So the markets, right? We've got what seems to be a whole lot of nothing. Bitcoin is down 1.3%, right? ETH is up 0.05. Tether's doing its thing, just chilling at $1. And everything else just kind of in between, right? Terra Luna is one of the few that actually had in a decent pump today, 8%, 6% on the week. Been holding up pretty strongly. And also, by the way, guys, one of the reasons, I don't know if this is one of the reasons, but one of the reasons why I'm getting a little bit more bullish on Terra Luna is they created a reserve. They have that UST, and the Anchor protocol to borrow and lend and get APY. Well, they created a reserve of, I think, over $1 billion or $1 million, somewhere in between there. I can't remember if it was a million or a billion.
That's a pretty big spread there, $1 million to $1 billion.
Whatever it was, I'm pretty sure it was $1 billion, because in the article it mentioned something about it being like the largest reserve or the largest amount ever. Whatever. Point is,
Nice.
in Bitcoin, so they're holding a bunch of Bitcoin as a reserve for their UST stablecoin to keep the borrowing and lending up afloat.
Dude.
So yeah, everything else is just decently red, decently green. Some things are up, some things are down. Nothing up, big or down, right? It's just one of those sideways days.
Just one of those days where you don't want to wake up. Everybody sucks. I missed part of a line. I missed part of a line. That was a little song. I did it all for the nookie. Little Limp Biscuit, but I know, Miguel, you're not big on the music. So right when I started to drop a little music knowledge on you, I knew I was going to lose.
Yeah, let's tone it down.
Ooh, nice. I like it. So check this out. Market Cipher. I am currently on the daily, and we have a descending broadening wedge. Got a couple anomalies, obviously huge wick here. We remember this was back in December, and then we had a couple days up above towards the start of November when we started to actually break down there. But ultimately, as Miguel talked about yesterday, these broadening wedges do generally do break to the upside, which is what we're looking for, right? The couple good things that we have going on. RSI is down at about 30 Okay. 30 is, for those of you that don't know, in a bull market, 30 is oversold. That's generally a good thing. Starting to have a little bit of a turn here on the MACD. On the histogram, we're seeing the dark red to a pink, which is at least a move in the correct direction. And then we're kind of flattening out after having a nice little dip on the momentum wave, and money flow is actually pretty flat. So we'll see. Again, like Miguel said, a lot of a big nothing burger right now. But, with TA, it's always statistics. It's all about statistics. And statistically, the setup that's here combined with what we have on the MACD, the RSI, and Market Cipher says that we should break to the upside. If we go to a shorter time frame and kind of, whoopsie, that's not what I meant to do, and kind of zoom a little bit on the 4 hour, we actually are not looking
Still
too
doing
terribly.
nothing.
Yeah, not looking too. No, where was it? Was it the 2 hour or the 1? Oh, I think it might have been the 1 hour. Hold on one second, let me pull it. Yeah, so if you look at it from a little bit different standpoint, this is the 1 hour to the daily. It doesn't look quite as intimidating, the move from here to here, right? On the daily, it still looks like a big move. I think it's going to take a few days. Miguel, do you see us breaking out with any sort of strength, or do you think that we're going to be here we go?
I think it's going to be a slow break. I don't think it's going to
Okay.
be a massive blast off unless some type of huge catalyst event happens that is super bullish. I mean, I don't even understand at this point. I don't even know what that event would be, right?
Right.
Like, I don't even know because we keep seeing more and more, senators or different states, going to legalize Bitcoin. We had California just recently. California, out of all the 50 states, coming out here saying we're going to put Bitcoin, right, as either whether it was legal tender or whatever it was, recognizing Bitcoin, allowing people to pay with Bitcoin, yada yada yada. And it's like I don't even understand anymore what a catalyst event would have to be for Bitcoin to blast off into like past 100K. I don't even know. We
Yeah,
have the
it's
most illiquid activity when it comes to on-chain metrics right now for Bitcoin. People are holding, buying the more than ever. Supply and demand is just literally the demand is not meeting up the supply, or the supply is not meeting
not
up the
meeting with
demand,
them.
whatever that
Yeah.
was, and the price literally is going the opposite way. So I don't even know.
So you actually brought up a good point, which kind of leads us into our topic tonight. You're talking about supply and demand, and ultimately, obviously, that's what drives, especially when we talk about Bitcoin. That is one of the huge pieces that makes Bitcoin different. That's part of the reason why our money, our fiat money, is such garbage, because the supply can just be changed at any point, right? With Bitcoin, and I'm interested to hear your take on this. With Bitcoin, you have a set supply. We have a set supply. So we know as a market that ultimately, at the end of the day, it's 21 million Bitcoin and not a Bitcoin more. That being said, there's a bunch of them that have been lost. There's a bunch of them I think there's a million of them in the Genesis wallet. There is not 21 million. I don't know what that number exactly is, but ultimately that does drive supply and demand economics. Now, with the stock market, okay? And here's kind of where we're headed with this. We have let's start off with this. I think we have a problem in today's world with the stock market. And I think the problem, partially, this is just the first part, but I think part of the problem is 5 days a week versus 7 days a week. What does it actually end up being? 8 hours a day versus 24 hours a day. And I'll tell you why I think that. I think that because we live in this world of instant gratification. We live in this world of dopamine hit, dopamine hit, dopamine hit, short form content, short form content, short form content. Like the content that we're doing right now, the information that we're putting out right now is like long form content, right? We're talking 30 or 40 minutes or an hour even, right? And so I think people are looking for that instant gratification. They're looking for that quick play. They're looking for that, I want to be a millionaire by tomorrow. I don't want to wait 10 years from now. And so I think that as it relates to the stock market, I could see it making a lot of sense for the stock market. First of all, let's talk about this side of it. I think it would make a lot of sense for the stock market to go 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Let's not even get into the tokenizing of the stock market. Let's talk about this first. Miguel, my thoughts are 7 days a week, 24 hours a day gives people more of an incentive. I'm not talking about institutions as much as because they want to go home, but I'm talking about more about the retail trader. It gives them the ability to buy on the weekends and the evenings. And I'll tell you, as previously being in stocks, it used to piss me off when it would be later in the evening, right? I got to do after hours trading. Not every equity was available to do after hours trading. Not every platform allowed you to do it. There was definitely restrictions and rules there. I don't know. It leaves you with the CME gaps. It just, man, it just leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen at all. I don't
Really,
think,
ever.
one, because there's already too many regulations and rules when it comes to the stock market. Then making it 24/7 would have to literally give up all those rules, break all those rules, and that's going to be a whole nother mess. They're not going to go back on all the regulations they put on in the first place.
Well, what
And
regulations would change from
well, like
being
just in the overall stock market, there's a bunch of rules already when you're a trader, right? Like
right
right now, if somebody opens up an account, you need to have at least $25,000 or more
for day
constant in
trading?
your account to be a
Yeah.
day trader. If not, you
Uh-huh.
can only do about 3 trades per week.
Right.
Um, so and a trade is whether you buy or you sell, that's already two. So if you bought one stock and you sold that same stock in that same week, that's already two. So if you buy a third, if you buy again, you got to hold that all the way into next week. So you better hope that it works out for you. If you're
But that's
short
part of the
term trading like
problem.
that.
That sucks. Why would they
Yes,
not
it
want to get
sucks,
rid of
but
that?
it sucks for us. It's great for them. They don't care about us making money, right? If you watched Wolf on Wall Street, if you watched what's his other movie? That's not Wolf on Wall Street. I can't remember his name right now, but it's an older movie.
With Ben
Whatever. They don't
Affleck,
care, huh?
it's one
No,
of my
not
favorite.
Ben Affleck. It's
Boiler Room, one of the best movies ever. Side note, smash a one in the chat if you love
no, not
Boiler
that
Room.
one.
That's one of the best movies ever.
It's the one with Shia LaBeouf that he's like a young stock trader and
Oh,
he knocks up the daughter of like a super old stock trader that was super well known, had just came out of prison or whatever. It
yes,
basically just shows
yeah,
all the corrupt stuff that is happening in the stock market or
right,
whatever.
okay.
Point is, there's too many advantages for them to then give up all this power, right? It's almost like they have their own little mini government over money and how people trade, and they will literally be giving up all the keys to the kingdom for allowing people to trade. Plus, institutions have employees; they don't want to pay those employees overtime or hire more employees just for the weekend. Um, so there's a lot of these things that I don't think they're going to want to give up.
I okay, so I said this to you on the phone earlier. The where I kind of disagree is at some point if the and I think this will be the turn. This will be whether it happens or not. If there's enough demand, there's so much demand for crypto. If you tried to cut crypto off at the knees and say it was 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, people would lose their ever loving mind, right? That just absolutely would not work because that's the way that it's been.
But
My
that's because
question
crypto was created that way
created and
from
started,
initially.
and yeah,
If it initially was released in some way or format where it said you can only trade it within this hour and this hour, and then you say, well, now we're gonna go 24/7, people are gonna be like, whoa,
yeah,
wait, what? No,
yeah.
they're not gonna. It would be in. They would not be enthusiastic about it.
So I agree with that. Where I'm kind of going with this is the newer generation. I don't think that's going to happen next year. I don't know. I could see it maybe in the next 10 years, though. You have this newer generation. It's the cool hip. We've talked about this before. It's the cool hip thing to invest now. And so I can see a younger generation saying, wait a minute, I'm able to invest in crypto, which is like the place to be 24/7, right? Why can I not do this in the stock market? And I think that it might, and I do think that it might give some of these equities and not an advantage over crypto, but an advantage over themselves and where they're at right now. I think that it would drive more retail interest. And you said it yourself, right? The institutions are where the money's at. The institutions are what this is all about. So what if they were able to give, right? This is What If Wednesday. What if they were able to give the retail trader 2 full extra days and a whole bunch of hours to screw it up even more, right? The reality is, as a general rule, these markets are manipulated. That's just a fact. If you don't believe that, well, then you have your head in the sand. So because they are manipulated, why not give the retail trader more opportunity to screw up? You give them more hours in the day to mess it up. You give them more days in the week. Yeah, you give them more chances to swing the bat, which ultimately could give them more opportunities to connect. But at the same time, you also give them time to regroup, time for things to kind of cool down, time for them to really think through things when I believe that retail traders are, as a general rule, emotional, and I think they trade that way. So do me a favor, chat. I'm interested to see where you guys are at. Drop a 1 in the chat if you agree with Miguel and you don't think that's going to happen. Drop a 2 in the chat if you agree with myself and that 24/7 stock trading is going to happen in, I don't even know, let's say the next 10 years.
This is going to be another reason why it won't happen. Another reason why it won't happen is with, like you said, right now trading is more popular than ever. People are more interested in it. People talk about it all the time. It's the cool thing.
Yeah.
That also has now happened in a generation or in a time where people can communicate more than ever, right? Through the internet, through TikTok. We saw what happened with Wall Street bets. They coordinated for GameStop and they boosted GameStop, and hedge funds were losing their ass on it, right? So this 24-hour trading thing puts more advantage for the average person to coordinate things like that more, because on the weekend there's less volume. Whether it's crypto or not, there's just less volume, period.
For sure.
So that being said, it's okay to assume that something like that would happen for the stock market as well. There's just going to be less volume on the weekends, and we can have these coordinated people throughout the masses in the internet say, on Saturday or on Sunday at this hour, we're going to pump this stock, right? We're just going to pump it up. Institutions are not going to be able to have control over that. Institutions are not going to be able to have that oversight like they do during the week.
So they would utilize the low volume to be able to move the markets themselves.
To move the markets themselves in the opposite way that the hedge funds want. And then you're going to have these situations like you had with GameStop, where they have to start calling the exchanges to shut down the trading and make it stop because they're losing a bunch of money, right? We're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars here. So I think it's the problem is control. Institutions have control that they know between 9 and 4, they control the game. And in the weekends, they can go, sip a Mai Tai at the beach and not have to worry about it. And giving up that comfort and that power for a few more hours or a few more days for retail to mess up is too much of a risk. It's more of a risk than a gain for them. And that's why I don't think it's ever going to happen, even if they come into the crypto blockchain scenario. They're gonna want to have what they have with the futures, right? Kind of like a stop to it throughout the weekend.
I just want to throw out there, if Heidi agrees with me, well, then it's got to be that, because Heidi always agrees with Miguel. So I'm just throwing that out there. If Heidi agrees with me, then it's got to be that. That's point blank, period. No, but dude, I see both sides of it. I do. I think that there's some really interesting thoughts on both ends of it. I think that you can give the opportunity for the retail traders to do exactly what you're saying. That makes sense. And then on the other side, I think it gives the equities the opportunity to be more 2022, if you will. It gets more up to the times, right? You can do anything and everything 24 hours, 7 days a week. And so, yeah, I think I'm on the other side of that. Let's move on to the next part of this. Okay.
Before we move on to the next part, hold on. Sorry to interrupt, but we have a comment here. Says, hey guys, I just want to say I tune in pretty often and really appreciate the knowledge you guys drop daily. Keep it up. The channel is only going up and to the right. I'm surprised to hear this. I've never seen this name in the chat. AD. I don't know if you made a new account or something, but I've never seen this name in the chat. So it makes it seem like you're a new person, but yet you say you're in here all the time. There's a big portion of people that watch the channel that are not subscribed. We can see in the analytics. There's a big chunk of people that watch and are never subscribed. So if you're watching right now and you've been a long time, supporter of the channel, hit that subscribe button. It really helps out. We would greatly appreciate it. Remember to hit the subscribe button, guys, and hit that like button as well. So that's all I wanted to say before we move on.
No, and we appreciate that. We always appreciate the support. So thank you very much. Just always, always, always appreciated. Okay, so now here's the fun part. Okay, so the first part's kind of speculative. Not kind of, it's speculative for sure. The second part here is where I think this gets interesting. And here's where you guys are going to get excited, okay? You guys are going to start to feel some little feelings about your crypto portfolio. Okay, so let's start off with this. Let's say the stock market gets tokenized, okay? And what do I mean by that? For those of you that are new, for those of you that aren't new, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is essentially instead of buying your equities just through a regular, exchange of some sort through Webull or wherever you're buying it, and it literally is physically just a piece of the company at whatever share price, whatever. If they essentially attach some sort of it can be, it could be the Coca-Cola token. It could be this, that, and the third. But ultimately what they're doing is they're putting it on the blockchain. So the blockchain's immutable, and it would be a public blockchain, or at least I would assume. I wouldn't see any reason why not. So what happens, or the other side of it is they either give them their own tokens, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Miguel, or do they tokenize it in the form of, instead of actually, what's the word I'm looking for? Settle in USD, they settle in stable coins. So I think there's two different sides to it. I think either way, let's talk about the fact that it's on the blockchain, right? And then let's go into how they're settling. Are they settling USD, USDT, USD, whatever? Is it a stable coin, or are they actually creating their own token? So let's start there. Where do you think they would go with that, Miguel? Are they going to use a stable coin if they did this, if this happened, or would it be their own token?
It would probably be a stable coin. They're probably going to play it safe and go with a stable coin. I would prefer that when you mean their own token, you mean like every
I'm saying
stock
like
is going to have
Coca-Cola.
its own token?
Yeah,
Coca-Cola
let's just say
token?
it's a 10, it's 10,
really,
10 for one, 1 for
yeah,
one,
I would
100
really
for
hope that
one.
they don't do that. I hate projects, or I hate everything that creates a token doesn't really need to exist. There's a lot of projects out here that are either tokens or whatever, and they don't have a demand for the coin, right? And it becomes more of a securities kind of situation where you're just investing, you're just holding this token because
Well,
you think the
that's what I'm
stock's going to go
suggesting.
up.
I'm suggesting that it is full on. It's a
That
security. It's just
all the
on the
projects
blockchain.
become a coin. That all the stocks, all the stocks become a coin.
That's one of the, that, or yeah, exactly. So they just, it can even keep the same ticker, but they're physically on the blockchain as a token on top of the Ethereum blockchain, or on top of, again, go with it. Talk to
Oh,
me.
okay. I guess I didn't really understand that at first. I mean, if it's on top, like if it's on top of the Ethereum blockchain or things like that, you got to be careful, right? Because we know that Ethereum has
Whoops.
problems. We know that Ethereum can only sustain so many projects, so many transactions. So putting an entire stock market on top of the Ethereum network most likely will not happen unless some major revamp happens in the next 10 years for Ethereum, and Ethereum becomes the world's quickest smart contract settlement ever. But whatever the blockchain that is, that let's say it becomes
Okay.
blockchain X, right?
Okay.
Whatever
Right.
that is
Right.
what puts the stock market on there, and they can make all these tokens based off of it for all these projects. They might have their own token. Honestly, it can go either way. It can go with either stablecoin, but they kind of did this already earlier, right? With Binance having some synthetic
The
versions of
synthetics. Yeah.
some stocks, right? And they got in trouble for it, obviously,
Right.
and they got taken down.
Yeah.
But it'll probably go with their own token. If the way you explained it, it probably will be their own token, even though it would just be better if it's just be like a stable coin or something.
I think the reality is, whether they went with their own token or went off of a stable coin, I don't think ultimately that's going to matter quite as much if they keep basically the share, if the share price just converts over to token form. I think the big thing is, there's two parts of this that I think are huge. The first part is, all of a sudden, everything is freaking public, and how now we just have to hear quarterly, like, oh, there's an earnings call today, oh, guess what, Tesla bought Bitcoin, and it was freaking months ago, right? It was earlier in the quarter. It's the start of the quarter. They're able to hide that stuff. They're able to keep that stuff under wraps. And so first and foremost, I think that the public side of it, I think that there would be people, I think there would be companies that would do this, that would know the addresses that are attached to, and I think they would have to obviously publicly set out, hey, this is our addresses for this, and basically all the equities have their own address. And I think that they would have to, it would immediately give us the ability to see what's happening more in real time. Again, back to what I said before, more 2022, more, hey, what's going on right now? I can see it, I can feel it, I can touch it, I can talk about it. Boom, bam, slam. So I think that that's the first part. I think the second part is a little bit more of a thinking side of it, and where it gets into our crypto is, now all of a sudden we've got the traditional markets on the blockchain. Right now, all of a sudden, it's a big pool of a mixed bag of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Apple, Google, and I think that it says, holy crap, these are on the same playing field. We're talking about the same playing field. Now it opens up and gives normalization even more to crypto. Let me go one step further. How about crypto then absorbing the stock market, right? So it absorbs it, takes it in, everything's tokenized, whatever. But beside that, because crypto is growing at such an exponential rate, now we have, think about the crypto markets at the size of the New York stock. That would be $65 trillion. We're talking about, what are we at right now? 1.7, something like that.
1.7 or something like that.
We're literally talking about almost a 40x. Folks, listen, take a peek at your portfolio. Don't add another dollar to it. And 40x that. Just boom.
Wait, but hold on. You're not going to 40x that.
Why not?
Whatever your portfolio is right now, if $65 trillion of assets that are stock market come into crypto
No.
and
I'm
they
saying
get taken into the
No. Separate that. I'm talking about separate of that. I'm saying if
why
crypto
why would crypto instantly 40x because the stock market is inside of
I
the
don't
blockchain?
think it's one and the other or one or the other. I think it's mutually beneficial where the stock market is now tokenized and it's now on the blockchain and it adds a whole nother layer. And I think that a lot of people will migrate from some of their assets in equities because now it's all in the same big pool, right? And I don't have to actually oh shoot, sorry about that. You don't have to make some of the same moves that you had to make before to make that happen. And I think a lot of people, if given the opportunity, if they could make a transaction to go, you know what, I want to go from Apple to Bitcoin, right? And it's on the same, literally, we're on the same blockchain, and I could make a move. You know what? I'm gonna get rid of half of my Apple and flop it straight into Bitcoin with just one foul swoop. I think that ultimately it wouldn't just be about absorbing it. It would be about the fact that crypto is going to continue to grow exponentially as it is right now. Now we add a whole nother layer of normalization to what this is. I think it amps up and speeds up the process of how fast we get to some of these crazy numbers. And I don't see any reason why. You hear people talk about it all the time. We're going to see $100 trillion. Let's even get inflation out of the way. We're going to see a 50 plus X of the crypto markets right now within the next 9 years. We are just flat out. I don't even know that you would argue that with me. You wouldn't, right? I mean,
No, I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't argue that. But what I would argue is the fact that you said, right, and make it so much easier for people to leave their equities for crypto because crypto is the future, right?
mhm.
That is what these big companies would be thinking of ahead of time. And they
Yeah.
would say, wait a minute, and want to have a barrier between their equities and the equities market and the stock and the crypto market to make it more difficult to leave and then say, man, if I drop all my stock, if I'll drop all my stock in Apple right now, gotta go through this entire headache, right? And then
Yeah.
transport all these, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even millions of dollars,
Right.
most likely, right? All these millions of dollars back to my bank and then connect that bank account to my Coinbase, right? Let's say Coinbase,
Mhm.
and then use that Coinbase account, and it's gonna have a limit. I'm not gonna be able to drop my 1 million or
Right.
$5 million all at once, and then I'm gonna have to buy this thing, and then I want, and it creates a bigger barrier. And then people's like, you know what, Apple's doing just fine. It's gonna keep doing just fine for the next 10 years. I'll just hold my Apple, and I'll save myself the headache. I'll save myself the capital gains. I'll save myself all these issues. And I think the stock market would try to keep that. Would try to. It's about control, right? We'll try to keep that. Versus if you make it too easy for them, we're all in the same pool. They say, hey, forget Apple. I'm just gonna hold Bitcoin. I'm just gonna drop all my money into Bitcoin. Want to have the least amount of risk possible. I'm just gonna hold Bitcoin, a neutral asset, a worldwide neutral asset. Whether you're pro China or pro Russia or pro United States, you hold Bitcoin. It doesn't matter what country you're all about. They're all going to be using Bitcoin at some point or mining it or whatever.
I think
So
we're going there anyway.
I mean, yeah, but that's the thing, right? The traditional market will slam the brakes on trying to slow that down as quickly as much as possible to never give up power. That's what the government does. That's what the financial systems do. They don't want to give up power.
Yeah. They want to make this as difficult as possible. I don't disagree with that. I do agree from the standpoint that they understand in these equities markets that they've got something coming, right? And I think the reality is that people are starting to figure out. I was doing my taxes today, and my CPA actually, side note, told me to get into Mara, which was like at, I don't even know, 60 or 70 cents at the time. It's a stock that's into Bitcoin mining, and it went up to like $75. Yeah. So at any event, he kind of jabs at me now ever since he told me to do that, and I didn't jump in, and I had the obviously the opportunity to do it. He always, hey, how about that Mara? You know what I mean? I don't know what it's at right now, but it did get up to somewhere around $75. But all that being said, was when he started bringing up the subject today of, crypto and stocks, his question was, hey, how's your crypto portfolio looking? What do we have to go over with that? It wasn't even, hey, let's talk about stocks. Right now, he knows who I am. He knows what I'm doing. But the reality is, I do hold traditional equities as well. I do have some diversification there, and I think that is going to be happening no matter what. I think that the move from traditional equities over to cryptos are happening no matter what. I just think it's going to be interesting to see how fast. And are we actually going to see a trade-off, or are we just going to see people continue to hold their equities kind of the way that I'm doing it, as like that more, hey, there's not really much volatility here. It's that solid, safe play that's been tried and true and tested over the last, 70 years or whatever. You're muted if you're trying to talk, by the way.
I wasn't. I was just talking to myself. I said safe play. Okay.
Yeah. So ultimately, I mean, the reality is, in the crypto markets, there is a absolute fact that it is much more volatile. So if you want to diversify
Nope.
some
I
and
will not
separate
do that.
yourself from that, diversification is an answer. And I think that ultimately, I think that people are going to be moving over towards it anyway. So let's
Crypto is actually less volatile than the equities market. Think about that for a minute.
Miguelito.
Okay, how much do you make in your equities? Let's say on best case in a year, 8%, right? That's what the best traders in the
Well, that's
equity
not a
markets
best
do.
case, but that's an average. But yeah. So what are
That's
you
the
saying?
best for traders. That's the best case in a year for the stock market. It's
Okay, I'm
8%
listening.
on your money.
You've got my attention here,
Okay,
albeit
okay,
that you're wrong. You got my attention.
okay. Here we go. Here we go. Stable coins. Right
Okay.
now,
Okay.
you can hold. You can make 20+% APY
Okay.
with stablecoin.
Okay.
Zero volatility.
APY and APR are totally different, but go ahead.
It don't matter.
Well, it's just totally different, but
You're
I
gonna
got you.
hold your equities multiple for over a year, right?
Okay.
You've
But
been
that's
holding
not
your
how it
equity.
works.
You said it does. You
APY,
say
APY compounds, APR does not. So it's
I
different.
understand. I
Okay.
understand. But you're holding your equities long term for multiple years anyway, so
Yes.
it's
Yes.
compounding. So
Yes.
it works in your benefit anyways
Yes.
to
Yes.
be 20% or
Okay.
whatever
Okay.
APY. So why not just hold stablecoin,
That
make
doesn't
passive
make it
income
more or
of it?
less
It's
volatile.
less volatile. Of course, it's a dollar. It doesn't go up or down. You hold your equities. What happened with the stock market these last couple of days? Gigantic dump. Stablecoin ain't gonna dump anywhere.
No, well, first of all, stable coins are absolutely tied to the dollar. And if the dollar
But we're not talking
absolutely
about the dollar.
does,
We're talking about equities.
I agree. But what I'm trying to say is it still is tied to something that moves. And so ultimately, with a
And
huge move,
not all stable coins are tied to the dollar.
they're supposed to be tied to an asset that ultimately does have the ability to move price. But all I'm saying is I was talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Chainlink. I was talking about
Stable coin
traditional
are
cryptos.
cryptos. Stable coins are cryptos. Just lawyering it up. Fine details matter.
Okay. Well, ultimately, what I want to say is if this were to happen, if we were to make this move, I believe that the crypto market itself, even though it's already headed there, I think it would head there at an even faster rate. I just think that it would lay out a case for the fact that, hey, here we are. This is part of the deal. Old people and young people, like people that understood it, people that didn't understand, if they could do something as simple, if they could truly buy their cryptocurrency and be able to control it in the same way that they buy and sell their stock, and they didn't have to do anything else. If they just made it that simple and you just buy it and hold it, and I don't have to do anything, I don't have to self-custody. You'd have to make it incredibly easy for them, right? But I believe that would make things just I don't know. I think the market could absolutely rip from it. Do you see anything negative from it?
From the stock market coming into the blockchain?
Yeah, from tokenizing the stock market. Do you see any
Well, yeah.
negativity?
The negative I would see is there's going to be brakes put on crypto. Crypto is going to have to slow down, right? Bitcoin is going to slow down. If that
Well, what do you
happens,
mean? Hold on.
the
When do the brakes have to be put on?
when the stock market comes in, the
Okay.
stock market is not going to be in with the crypto game, while the crypto market is volatile, right? The crypto market is up and down, massive swings of 50%, 40%. Stock market is like, no, we don't play those
We don't play
games,
that game
right? Like if we're gonna be
because the
part of this
stock
thing,
market's less
this
volatile,
this thing's got to be 2 to 3%. Let's keep it cool,
right?
right?
Because the stock
Uh,
market's less volatile, right?
huh?
Because the stock market's less volatile.
No, because the stock market's trash. That's why they want to keep you poor, right? Because the stable coin is less volatile and can make you more APY. So whatever. Point is, stock market is going to keep you poor, and that what they're going to do with crypto, they're going to keep you poor. That's what they're going to do. They're going to put their hands around it. They're going to grab control of it, and they're going to say, stock market, the crypto market is no longer going to move the way it moved before, and we're going to make sure it stays that way, right? Bitcoin's not going to be having these 50% dumps, or these massive 100x, not 100x,
So,
but
are we going to
well,
tokenize real estate? Are we going to see tokenized real estate?
I mean, we're seeing that already.
Okay.
I saw that right now
Yeah.
on Algorand.
Okay.
Um,
And so, where do you see that? Where do you see that heading? Do you see that being a good thing, bad thing, something
it's a
somewhere in
cool thing.
between?
It's a different tactic, right? I can own a small percentage, small piece of a building without putting up thousands and thousands of dollars to own the entire building.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, that doesn't. Do you see Algorand pumping right now? Do you see Algorand like skyrocketing because they've tokenized real estate?
That's a Bitcoin question there, but
Right?
yeah, I got you.
They haven't, right? And it's gonna be something like that. It's gonna be something that you can just use. It's cool. It can make you money. Maybe at some future point, it might have a pump relative to it as it grows more, but it doesn't always correlate. Like just because certain things are happening, you're gonna see these massive pumps happening, and that's how kind of the stock market works, right? All these things are happening for all these companies doesn't mean that there's a direct pump
Right.
correlated to it.
Yeah. You know what I'm excited for? I will tell you, I'm excited for the idea that the blockchain being so public. I would love the idea because I think there would be a lot of companies like Santiment and things like that would target these companies, and you would know now what's happening now. And so on the front end, that absolute transparency I think would be huge, and I think it would be important, and I think it would make a difference. Again, second, I think it makes a huge difference for the idea of the boomers, if you will, right, that are in my people like myself, people that are not in crypto right now. I think that it normalizes that, and I think that overall it would be a positive move. I just don't know how long it will be before it happens. I think no matter what, we're going to see the stock market tokenized. Like, I think they are going to move to that format. I just don't know how much of the stock market's on the blockchain and it operates the same. I think there will be some sort of, you're right, like a barrier. So
Yeah.
something's going to be different
Mhm.
between equities and cryptos. And then also, if you make them exactly the same, now all of a sudden you for sure have admitted that they are indeed all securities. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
at any
that
event,
too, right?
I think that would make a difference as well. Make sure you guys follow us on Twitter. Listen, guys, we're trying to grow on all of our socials. We appreciate each and every one of you for being here. We've got our Twitter, Debate Crypto OG. We've got our academy, which is debatecrypto.academy, where we do our seminars every single Sunday, and where we have our like maybe 18 videos on the Crypto 101 right now, teaching people that. There's a bunch there. So we'd love to see you there. But we do ultimately appreciate each and every one of you guys. If nobody's told you before today, we love you. And just remember, question everything,